friends, today we're reading Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Chapter 7, Charlie's Birthday. Happy birthday, cried the four old grandparents as Charlie came into their room early the next morning. Charlie smiled nervously and sat down on the edge of the bed. He was holding his present, his only present, very carefully in his two hands. Wonka's Whipple Scrumpalicious Fudge Mellow Delight, it said on the paper. The four old people, two at either end of the bed, propped themselves up on their pillows and stared anxiously with their eyes as Charlie held his candy bar. Mr. and Mrs. Bucket came in and stood in front of the bed watching Charlie. The room became very silent. Everybody was now watching for Charlie to start opening his present. Charlie looked down at the candy bar. He ran his fingers slowly back and forth along the length of it, stroking it lovingly as the shiny paper wrapper made sharp little crackling noises in the quiet room. Then Mrs. Bucket said, "You mustn't be too disappointed, my darling, if you don't find what you're looking for underneath that wrapper. You really can't expect to be as lucky as all that." "She's quite right," Mr. Bucket said. Charlie didn't say anything. "After all," Grandpa Josephine said, "in the whole world there will only be 3 golden tickets left." "Things to remember," Grandpa Georgina said, "is that whatever happens, you will still have a candy bar. Wonka's Whipple Scrumpalicious Fudge Mellow Delight," said Grandpa George. "It is the best of all of them, you know. You just love it." "Yes," Charlie whispered, "I know." "Just forget about all those golden tickets and enjoy the candy," Grandpa Joe said. "Why don't you do that?" They all knew that it was ridiculous to expect this poor little candy bar to have a magic ticket inside, and they were all trying as gently and as kindly as they could be to prepare Charlie for the disappointment. But there was one thing the other grown-ups also knew, and it was this, that however small the chance was of striking lucky, there still was a chance. The chance had to be there. The particular candy bar had just as much of a chance as any other candy bar as having a golden ticket, and that was why all the grandparents and parents in the room were actually just as tense and excited as Charlie was, although they were all pretending to be very calm. "You better go ahead and open it up, or you'll be late to school," Grandpa Joe said. "You might as well get it over with," Grandma Georgina said. "Open it, my dear," said Grandpa Josephine. "Please, you're making me very jumpy." Very slowly, Charlie's fingers began to tear open the one small corner of the wrapping paper. The old people in the bed all leaned forward, craning their scraggly old necks. Then suddenly, as though he could not bear the suspension any longer, Charlie tore the wrapper right down the middle, and on his lap there fell a light brown cream-colored candy bar. There was no sign of a golden ticket anywhere. "Well, that's that," said Grandpa Joe brightly. "It's just what we expected." Charlie looked up. 4 kind old faces were watching him intently from the bed. He smiled at them, a small, sad smile, and then he shrugged his shoulders and picked up the candy bar and held it up to his mother and said, "Here, Mother, we have a bite. We'll share it. I want everyone to taste it." "Certainly not," his mother said, and the others all cried, "No, no, no, we wouldn't dream of it. It's all yours." "Please," begged Charlie. He turned around and he offered it to Grandpa Joe, but neither him nor anyone else would even take a tiny bite. "It's time to go to school, my darling," Mrs. Bucket said, putting her arm around Charlie's skinny shoulders. "Come or you'll be late." All right, Chapter 7.